Hey, quick question for my American friends after this whole Helsinki thing. What did I say? Helsinki syndrome. This is what one of my friends posted out saying that it's finally shown, it's one of those points that's showing how crazy some people are. Just, people are just completely against Trump. And then Trump even posted saying there's nothing wrong with getting along with people. This is paraphrasing. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. And I'm like, God, Emperor Senpai has finally noticed us. Because Trump derangement syndrome is something that started, I think, just in this social sphere, and now it's actually become a mainstream thing. But when it comes to actual criticizing of your own team, I remember this thing in high school. I remember being at a wrestling tournament and just talking to one of my teammates and being like, "Why is it every time we're about to wrestle somebody, you just talk about how terrible we are, or how much we're going to lose, or things like this?" And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, back then I was thinking, "Oh, you should just be boosting people up," but I don't like that whole boosting people up just for the sake of boosting them. I kind of like that whole thing of actually criticizing somebody. And then right now, I just checked on Twitter, and then Scott Adams was saying there's nothing more American than criticizing your own team when your team deserves it. And I think that is a very positive thing. And then I had another video also called Snowflakes Built the West, how maybe part of this whole being super triggered by things means that it's a society that gets to the point where in another society, let's say here in Kenya, for example, people will say, "Hii ni Kenya," it's just Kenya, and let things become worse and worse and worse until it breaks down. Whereas in the United States of America, people have a lower threshold for these things. So they'll criticize immediately and be like, this is wrong. You're doing this wrong to the transgenders. You're doing this wrong to the gay people. You're doing this wrong to XYZ. And then people will address that and check and say, "Hey, is that actually wrong? Maybe we should fix that." Or they'll be like, "Oh, no, no, it's actually not wrong. Let's move to something. Let's focus on things that are actually need to be fixed." So what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about, have you played in a team? What do you think about criticism within your own team? What do you think about criticism within your own workplace? Criticism within your own family? Does that necessarily mean you dislike somebody? For me personally, I think if you actually go out there and correct somebody, it actually shows that you care for them even more. Well, of course, it depends on how you correct them. But if you see somebody just walking down the street doing something wrong, you don't normally stop and correct them. But if it's your relative, if it's somebody you care for, if it's your friend, you'll normally step in and be like, "Hey, maybe you should do this differently." So yeah, that's just a thought that I just wanted to ask you guys out there. Like, share, and subscribe. Get more videos coming this week. Goodbye. Yeah, so one last thing. There was also a situation of criticism from former President Barack Obama. He was doing some Africa trip, passed by Kenya, went to Kogalo, where his ancestors are from. Then he went down to South Africa and he was giving a speech there, I think also in part of honoring Nelson Mandela. But he was very critical of the political left in the United States of America for their shutdown tactics of not allowing people to talk. At the same point, people on the left get triggered a lot. They're always critiquing people. And then now they're like, okay, you can't talk about certain things. So just the way people critiquing things is being treated is a very interesting thing to see in society. So what do you think the difference is? Because there's nobody who's going to actually come out and say that Barack Obama is now on the side of the alt-right and things like that by critiquing the left. Yet with Donald J. Trump being critical of the intelligence agencies in the United States of America, some people are claiming that, oh, that shows that he's a Russian puppet. So, I mean, there's just double standards that continue, and it's just a ridiculous thing to see. Helsinki syndrome, I think, just try to make that happen.